Of course it will. After all, you have been playing games for who knows how many hours.
We need a better phone.
That's what someone must have thought years ago that changed the face of telephone forever.
Who was it?
I'm glad you asked that. So in today's episode, let us look into a brief history of phones by answering a ringing question. Who invented cell phones? Zoom in! Cell phones. We use them to make calls, send messages, video chat, manage work, and play games. Plus, there are chances that most of you must be watching this video on your smartphone. So, no wonder today it's hard to imagine a world without the cell phone, as it has become an integral part of our daily lives. But do you know how it all began and who invented them? Well, to get the answer, we need to travel back to 1900 and meet an inventor named Reginald Fessenden, who for the first time managed to transmit the human voice via radio waves, sending a signal from one radio tower to another. Meanwhile, the wire telephone technology was also progressing, and a Swedish inventor named Lars Magnus Ericsson managed to invent car phones as a fun retirement project. This technology was later bettered by a man in Philadelphia named W. McFarlane, but it still had a long way to go. Then in 1947, an engineer named William Ray Young, working at Bell Labs, proposed that radio towers arranged in a hexagonal pattern could support a telephone network for car phones. Soon, the car phones became popular among rich people, and telephone companies started to compete aggressively to enhance this technology further. One such competitor was Motorola, which didn't want anyone to have a monopoly on the cell phones. So they put their visionary executive, Martin Cooper, an American engineer, in charge of an urgent project to invent the cell phone. Cooper thought that the cell phone should not be chained to the car, but should be portable. And after working for years, Cooper, along with his team, invented the first handheld wireless cell phone in 1973. This phone was called the Motorola Dynatac 8000X, which was 9 inches long, weighed around 2.5 pounds or 1.1 kilograms, and allowed 35 minutes of talk time before its battery ran down. And after spending millions of dollars on this revolutionary concept, Motorola made the invention available to the public in 1983, and despite its price of $3,995, which is equivalent to $10,000 today, the Dynatac was a huge success. In the coming years, many companies started building wireless phones with lesser weight, smaller sizes, and better digital service at cheaper cost, which made personal cell phones more available to the middle class and brought a cell phone revolution in the 90s. Part of this revolution was IBM's Simon, released in 1994, which is considered the world's first smartphone that featured software apps and a touch screen. And since then, cell phone technology kept growing better, and who knows where it will lead us to. Trivia time! Did you know the first cell phone call made by Martin Cooper was a prank call to tease his competitor? Yes, he made the call to Joel Engel, who was doing similar work at Bell Labs. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out. Oh, what are you inventing, Kitty?
Batteryless phone.
Well, nothing is impossible, isn't it, friends?
Oh, little kitty, if the hard-working inventors of TV were here, they would have been devastated to witness your struggle in trying to get up for the remote. To understand why, let me take you back in time to answer a most watched question. Who invented the first TV? Let's zoom in! Our story begins in 1923 when the Russian-born engineer Vladimir Zworykin applied for his first television patent for the iconoscope, which used cathode ray tubes to transmit images. At the same time, in the state of Utah, USA, there was a teenager named Philo Farnsworth. He was expected to follow in his father's footsteps and become a farmer, but he dreamt of pursuing scientific endeavors and spent his time reading about cool inventions, especially the radio, which could magically send sound through the air. While turning the pages of his book, he came across the future of radio, which not only sent sounds but beamed pictures as well. Many inventors were trying to make this happen, but had yet to find any success. But one fateful day, while working on his farm, an idea popped into his mind. He thought of slicing an image into parallel rows, with a point of line scanning the rows line by line. If this scanning point could move really fast, it had the power to turn still pictures into moving pictures. But the challenge was, how could you manipulate the light to make this a reality? The answer had already been found in Britain by a Scottish inventor named John Baird. He created a mechanical spinning disc drilled with a series of holes, each one lower than the next. Beams of light were projected through the holes and a lens focused them on a subject in a dark room. The light reflecting from the subject was received by photocells, which translated it into an electrical current. This electrical current was then transmitted by radio waves, and a radio receiver converted these waves back into an electrical current and fed them to a neon lamp. A second spinning disc, turning at the exact speed, then projected the light, reassembling the image. Meanwhile, Philo came up with a better idea and built an image dissector. In his device, light entered through a lens and was converted into electrons. These electrons passed through a vacuum and were transformed into an electric signal that could be transmitted widely like a radio signal and used to recreate the original image. Then in 1927, he filed a patent for the first completely electronic TV set and demonstrated it on the 7th of September of that year. In the next few years, many inventors developed these ideas further, and soon TV became a household hit, especially in the early 1950s. The first practical remote control made its debut on store shelves in 1956. Color TV sets gained popularity during the 1970s, and today we have smart TVs that can connect to the internet to stream all kinds of entertainment. So the next time you switch on your TV to enjoy your favorite shows, remember the people who worked tirelessly to bring us this invention, making it an integral and cherished part of our lives today. Trivia time! Did you know in 1982, Sony was the first brand to mass produce a pocket television? Sony Watchman FD210. Yes, this compact device weighed around 650 grams with a measurement of 87 by 198 by 33 millimeters. Hope you learned something new today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out.
Hey guys, are you ready to watch this video? And do you have your popcorn with you? Just wait while I get mine ready. It will hardly take me a minute, thanks to this wonderful microwave. Did you know that the microwave was an accidental invention?
What? I was an accident? But...
Oh, Micro, I didn't want you to hear that. I'm sorry. Please don't cry.
I think I need my heating therapy.
Oh, yes. Here, heat some of this for me, please.
I thought people like me.
Of course they do. People love you. This is what I was going to tell our friends about today. The invention of the microwave. Come on, zoom in. Our story begins in the year 1894, when a young boy named Percy Spencer was born to a couple in Maine. Sadly, his father passed away only 1 year after his birth, so his mother gave him to his aunt and uncle to raise. And raise him they did.
Oh, you're such a curious little lad. And hardworking too, huh?
Which was good because when he was 8, his uncle passed away and he had to drop out of school in order to help his aunt run the house. He spent the next few years working at the spool mill until one day he heard that the paper mill nearby was going to start using electricity.
Oh my! This is electrifying!
This really sparked an interest in young Percy, and he began learning all that he could about electricity. So much so that when the paper mill started hiring, he was one of the only 3 people to be hired to install electricity at the mill.
And my joy knew no bounds.
At the age of 18, Percy joined the US Navy. This turn of events happened as Percy got interested in wireless communication after hearing about the wireless operators aboard the Titanic when it sank.
And very soon, I became the world's leading expert in radar tube design. Ha ha!
While building some radar equipment, Percy noticed that the peanut cluster bar in his pocket had become a gooey mess.
But I hardly felt any heat there. And this incident sparked some great interest in me. I felt the need for more experiments and more tasks and experiments and this was making me so happy.
So, he tried some corn kernels next and pop. They became popcorns. He even showed it to one of his colleagues, but switched the corn for an egg.
Silly me. And the egg exploded.
This gave Percy the idea of putting the contraption in a box.
In 1945, I got the patentship on the microwave, which was only one of the 150 patents to my name.
But his microwave was huge and could be only used by restaurants. The first commercial microwave wasn't until 1972, and over the years, as the technology got better and better, the microwave became an inseparable part of any food industry and has now become an everyday household item.
Hey, but my uses are more than what you guys think. I'm used in other industries to dry cork, ceramics, paper, leather, tobacco, textiles, pencils, flowers, wet books, and even match heads.
See? You're loved by everybody. Quite a history to our common kitchen appliance, don't you think?
Oh, that's my favorite sound. Dr. Binocs, aren't we all heading for the...
Trivia time! Percy Spencer was a completely self-taught physicist. He even learned trigonometry, calculus, chemistry and metallurgy all by himself. Microwaves were earlier known as electronic ovens. So kids, pop in some popcorns and tell me what was the first piece of food cooked in a microwave. Tune in next time for more fun facts. This is me zooming out. Hey little kitty, come here. Let me show you something.
Oh, what's this?
It's a telephone.
Where's the screen?
It's not the modern cell phone, but the OG phone that kick-started the communication revolution. So today, let me tell you the story behind the inventor of the telephone. Zoom in! Long before the telephone, people used various mediums like letters, telegraphs, envoys, and even pigeons to deliver messages from one place to another. But these modes of communication were oftentimes unreliable and, at their very best, very slow, as it took days or even weeks to receive them. But everything was destined to change on 3rd March 1847 with the birth of Alexandra Graham Bell in Edinburgh, Scotland. Bell grew up as a curious child and learned the science of speech from his father, Alexander Melville Bell, who worked as a speech therapist. At the same time, Bell showed a good talent for art, poetry, and music that was encouraged by his mother, Eliza Grace Simmons Bell, who unfortunately suffered from deafness. This had a profound impact on his life. So, by the time he was 18, he became determined to help people struggling with hearing loss and devoted much of his life to this cause. Later, in 1871, at age 24, Bell immigrated to the United States, where he continued to pursue his interest in speech and hearing by working as a teacher for the deaf and spent many years experimenting with different devices, working hard to find the right combination of materials and technologies that would permit him to transmit sound through wires like the telegraph. Then between 1873 and 1874, Bell worked on his harmonic telegraph, based on the principle that several different notes could be sent simultaneously along the same wire if the notes or signals differed in pitch. It was during this time Bell's interest sailed to an even more revolutionary idea: the possibility that not just the telegraph's dots and dashes, but the human voice itself could be transmitted over wires. Then Bell hired a skilled electrician named Thomas A. Watson to work together on bringing the idea of the telephone to reality. Then on the 2nd of June 1875, while experimenting with his harmonic telegraph, Watson was trying to loosen a reed wire that had been curled around a transmitter and plucked it by accident. The vibration produced by Watson's act traveled through the wire into a second device in the other room where Bell was working, and twang came the sound of the bell as the inspiration the duo needed to accelerate their work. Finally, in 1876, Bell discovered the secret to transmitting speech over a distance and managed to invent the telephone. Then on March 7th, 1876, after a long battle in court, the Patent Office awarded Bell the patent for transmitting vocal or other sounds telegraphically. And 3 days later, on March 10th, 1876, Bell famously succeeded in getting his telephone to work and revolutionized the way we communicate. Today, the telephone has evolved into cell phones and has become a part of our daily lives. So, let's thank Alexander Graham Bell for giving us one of the greatest inventions of all time, the telephone.
Trivia time!
Did you know ahoy was the original telephone greeting? Yes, Bell proposed ahoy as used in ships, but later, Thomas Edison suggested replacing it with hello, which we use even today while talking over cell phones. Hope you had fun today. Until next time, it's me, Dr. Binocs, zooming out.
Okay. Sure. Same here. Bye-bye.
Oh, who was it, Kitty?
Wrong number.
Never mind.
Hey friends! Didn't see you there, but now that there's light, we can see each other crystal clear. Have you ever wondered how light bulbs came into existence? Come, let's find out. Zoom in! Back in the days before the light bulb was invented, use of candles were quite common in households. In fact, they are used even today when we experience a blackout. But candles can be very messy. Though candles are beautiful to look at, they can be very dangerous. I can smell something burning. Oh, yikes! See what I mean? And that is why we need to thank Thomas Edison for inventing the first ever light bulb that has since enlightened the world. I mean, it has helped light up our world, literally. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, is also known to have developed more than 1,000 other inventions. Apart from the light bulb, some of his famous inventions include the voting machine, electric battery, and the movie camera. Thomas Edison wasn't a very bright student. He found it to be a painfully dull routine to go to school. However, he had a very curious mind and was always inquisitive to conduct science experiments under the tutelage of his mother. It was his inquisitive nature that led Edison to illuminate our homes. The principle is quite simple actually. It is the electricity that flows into the filament, and when the filament heats up sufficiently, it begins to glow, and thus we have light. But to make his invention viable, Edison faced a major hurdle. He had to make the bulb glow bright enough and long enough without it overheating. Edison experimented with different kinds of filaments to find the perfect match for his light bulb. He tried copper, platinum, and at last he tried filaments made from metal. After trying out many options, something finally clicked and Edison returned to his original choice. The carbon filament was the winner amongst all. Yay! But before he could officially declare his invention, Edison had to put his invention to test and see if it was long-lasting. On 22nd October 1879, Thomas Edison ran his first successful test on the light bulb. The filament burnt strong and bright for a good 13 and a half hours. And that was marked as the great grand invention of the light bulb. And friends, that's not all. I have something interesting to tell you. What's that? Trivia time! 23 light bulbs were developed before Edison's. Sir Humphrey Davy created the first electric arc lamp in 1809, and Warren de la Rue designed the first incandescent light in 1820. After over half a century of experimentation, Sir Joseph Wilson Swan created the light bulb that was more of an industrial nature, which was used to illuminate the Savoy Theatre in the city of Westminster, the very first public building in the world to be entirely lit by electricity. Edison tried 4,700 different materials to find the perfect filament, including hair from a beard. Light bulb production has evolved over the years, latest being the millennial LEDs. So, the next time you switch on the light at home, you know who invented it. Bye for now, kids. Until next time, when I will bring another amazing invention for you. This is me zooming out.